Thanks for everyone for taking your time to join us in the Cisco Connect Korea Service Provider Possible session. I just want to start the session by saying a big thanks to all our customers who have really embraced Cisco partnership in your 5G journey. It has been an incredible partnership with all the service providers here, and it helps us to learn a lot because Korea is always in the leap front of the technologies. And when we partner with you, we really learn a lot. Okay. With that thank you note, I just want to tell you what is the session I'm going to do. I'm supposed to talk about the network of the future. What we are going to do in this session is to talk about some of the global trends we see in the market and some of the statistics which I'll talk about it, and how Cisco is building our engineering and product strategy to align to this market trends. And we also will touch upon some of the key architectural transitions which we see across the service providers globally, and end up with a couple of case studies where we are partnered with service providers in building their networks of the future. With that, let me get into the session. Okay. The session title is Networks of the Future, and we start with what's happening around 5G and Wi-Fi. Again, Korea is really leading the 5G deployment across the world. And 5G and Wi-Fi is no more about speed or user experience. The industry believes 5G and Wi-Fi are going to be the key enabler of what we call as the fourth industrial revolution around digitization. Now 5G and Wi-Fi is connected with productivity, virtual reality, making artificial intelligence and machine language work, and so on. We do believe this is going to make things which were earlier impossible to be possible. If you look at the important statistics around the industry growth, IHS Markit predict the overall manufacturing industry and across all the industries is likely to grow its revenue to 12.3 trillion by 2035. And the important part to achieve that revenue growth is the digitization journey, and which is going to be realistic with 5G and Wi-Fi. And some of the below statistics you can see, Cisco Virtual Networking Index, it predicts a 7 times mobile traffic growth. And it is predicted that the global traffic will be 930 exabytes per year in 2022. And interestingly, but not surprisingly, the 79% of that traffic will be video. And the global mobile world by 2022 will have more people and more things connected to the network. You will have 5.7 billion users across the globe connected over the mobile infrastructure on an average speed of 3 times increase of what they experience today. And it's predicted to have an 8 times growth in terms of the IoT and the machine-to-machine traffic. This is the global statistics. Let's translate what's going to happen in Korea the next few years. So as per Cisco Virtual Networking Index again, if you look at the Korea mobile trend statistics, needless to say, Korea is a very advanced market in terms of technology and penetration. And Korea is already at an 87% penetration in terms of the mobile users. So that growth is not going to be significant because you already reached more or less the saturation point around that. But what is interesting is you're going to see the mobile devices per capita, which is currently around 2 devices per capita, is going to double to 4 devices per capita by 2022. The second statistics is the average cellular speed, which is at 35 meg, is likely to increase to 55 meg by 2022. And lastly, the average traffic which is consumed per capita per month, which is currently around 5 gig, is going to increase 4 times to close to something like 23.5 gig by 2022. At an average, the mobile IP traffic for the next 3 years in Korea market is likely to grow at a 32.7% CAGR to hit a traffic volume of 14.6 exabytes per month by 2022, per year by 2022. So, it's all interesting. This all is traffic statistics about consumers and everything. But let's take a pass and see what is the other interesting aspects of 5G, which is definitely around monetization. The biggest service provider question, how do I monetize my investments? So as I called out in the initial message, 5G is all about pursuit of productivity. And if you look at all the 3 network slices of 5G, whether it is an enhanced mobile broadband, or the massive machine type communication, or the ultra-reliable low-latency communication, every slice has got use cases which is connected with productivity. So if you look at the enhanced mobile broadband, some of the productive use cases are around, you can see it here, smart cities, fixed wireless broadband, remote worker, all that is around enhanced mobile broadband. And if you look at the MMTC slice, it's all about asset tracking, autonomous vehicle, remote sensor, those type of use cases will fit in there. And the final one on the ultra-reliable, we see the industrial drones and the telehealth. We see as first time a synergy between service providers and enterprise happening in the context of 5G. The service providers help to meet the demands of the business of enterprise, while enterprise can focus on the demands of customization and immediacy. This relationship is going to get stronger in the context of 5G, and service providers will see a clear path of monetization. Again, just to quote, Korea is already in this journey. We have heard like manufacturing industries like Rakuten, Hyundai, all that have adopted, and service providers are deploying B2B use cases with enterprises. So, unlike 4G, which is connected with consumers and user experience and everything, 5G is going to really provide a way for a lot of monetization for SPs, which is interesting. In spite of that, the biggest question we hear from our service provider is, how do I lower my capex? Okay? Because with the bandwidth increase, they don't want to keep spending. And this is a very interesting chart. If you look at the line, the flat line, that tells the capex spent by service providers across the globe. And over the last 5 years, it has been flat around $30 billion. It's not growing. It's a flat capex. However, if you look at the traffic, it is growing significantly. And it is around 230 megabyte per month at 2017, and this is likely to hit 890 megabytes per month, which is close to roughly 4 times. And the capex is going to be flat. So what is the message? Every dollar of infrastructure the service provider spend has to drive 90 megabyte per month on an average, which is 11 times from what they were achieving in 2012. And as vendors, this is the important data point we work in whatever we do. The products we develop, the solutions we build, we need to have this in mind. And that's where I want to bring out what is our Cisco strategy for 5G. It's a simple 3-pillar strategy. We want to partner with you. We want to grow with you. We want to really help you to grow your revenue. We are focused on the monetization aspect. In fact, we would like to call ourselves as your monetization partner. So there are a lot of things being built in Cisco engineering around how we can do agile service creations and bring in enterprise business value for to you. We are really developing solutions which can be completely support you on the heterogeneous access And some of the sort of products which we are building in, like the Cisco Ultra Domain Center, which is actually the nice fit of a product to help you bridge the service provider and enterprise relationship in the context of 5G. And the second aspect, as I talked in the previous slide, how do we reduce cost? We are bringing in a converged transport architecture, which is completely SDN-enabled and fully automated. We are bringing into the market some of the high-performance routing solutions based on 100 gig and 400 gig, and which are completely software-driven programmable infrastructure managed by our Crosswalk portfolio. And you may say that what these products is going to help you to reduce the cost. Just wait for me a couple of slides. I'll talk you through that. And the third part, as the enterprise become part of the service provider network, there cannot be any service outage, zero service outage, and 100% trust has to be there. And this has been, again, a very strong engineering focus from our perspective. All our hardware are trusted. Completely, at any point of time, they really know what's running inside the box. And what we have also added a capability is, like now with our Crosswalk, we have got a visibility tool which helps you to have that visibility of the network, whether it's infrastructure anytime secured or not secured. Having talked about Cisco's strategy and some of the trends, let me talk you through some of the architectural transitions which our service providers are undergoing globally. I'm pretty sure some of you are also undergoing. I would say it's a 4 architectural transitions which we see globally. First, convergence. Bringing one network, whether it's wireline, wireless, any access, any service, one infrastructure. Second, decouple services from the network and make the subscriber services to be cloud native. Third, ability to offer compute services. I'm sorry about this, something wrong in this. Okay, the last one, which I want to talk about is the third one is a bit not correct. The fourth one, increase flexibility of the compute to be deployed as you virtualize your journey anywhere from the access to the aggregation to the core of the network. And the fourth important one is around automation. Everything you do in a network of devices, people, and IoTs, you can't run networks in a manual mode anymore. It has to be automated for every transition of the packet. On the reduced costs, I want to touch upon the first architectural transition, the Converged SDN Transport. If you converge your infrastructure, wireline, wireless, and everything, what you're going to achieve is a 60% improvement in your cost per bit and a 67% improvement in your OPEX and 81% improvement in your time to market for a faster rollout of services. How do you do that? Is that a magic? No. Why we are able to achieve that? Let me explain. First, what we are doing is in this converged architecture, we are decoupling the services from the transport. That makes the common transport layer as agnostic as possible. So you can run any access, any service. And the second aspect, what we are doing, routing plus optical convergence. Basically, what we are trying to solve is, if your packet has to travel 20 different nodes to reach the destination in your current architecture, we really want to work with you. How we can bring the 20 nodes to a 12 node. How do we can remove some of the intermediary nodes. How we can bring in IP plus optical in a single platform. I'm not going to steal the thunder here, because as my next presenter, Aaron, is going to really talk about it, how this works. And the third aspect is the SDN-enabled service delivery, which has got 4 pillars around intent-based automation, open and programmable, analytics ready, and it has an ability to host the third-party applications. And these are the things which is going to help you to realize the top 3 benefits, which I said, in terms of cost per bit, OpEx, better OpEx utilization, and third, faster time to service. Having talked about it, let me talk about the next one. Okay, that's the transport layer. Now comes the services layer. And services layer is becoming cloud native. Okay? And when you build your cloud native infrastructure, there are 4 dimensions to it. And I would sincerely urge saying that please look at all these 4 dimensions together. It cannot be seen isolated. What are the 4 dimensions? The first one is around the VNF workloads. This decides what are the services you want to virtualize. What are your libraries of VNF? And are they capable of becoming cloud native, or are they still in the virtualization mode? The third, as you separate your control plane and user plane, CUPS architecture, how you want to place, where you want to place your control plane and user plane. That is very important, the first dimension. The second dimension is about building your edge architecture. How your data center fabric and the SDN is going to really run it. It's not about connectivity. This layer actually has to be very strategic to work with 2 other layers. One on the transport side, because as you go with the distributed edge, all the distributed edge are connected over your common transport layer. So you need to look at an architecture which connects your DC and transport. And Cisco is building a solution which helps to connect segment routing and ACI inside the data center. And why it is important? 5G, we talk about network slices. You need to really understand how network slices can work between the transport and the data center layer. And the second angle which data center has to connect is the virtualized fabric, your virtualized platform, because that's where it brings the value of service chaining. So that is the second aspect of your cloud journey. And the third aspect is the NFVI platform, what we call as virtualized infra. Again, you can make strategic choices here. You want to go complete open source or forked. Do you want to build horizontal stacks or vertical stacks? Do you want to build a separate NFVI for mobile, separate NFVI for data, separate NFVI for wireline, separate NFVI for every app? But if your library is going to be 150 functions, you can't build 150 stacks. So the decision of horizontal versus vertical is very important. And again, do I build a platform which is only for virtualized, or do I want that NFVI platform to host in parallel the virtualized applications as well as the cloud native applications? And the last part, which is not the least but the most important, is how do we do the management and orchestration? Because that exactly does the service orchestration. And that is connected with your workflow automation. And that brings in tools and operations which is going to make your automation journey work. It is going to provide you the network and service assurances. So our learning across the global service provider and what we want to leave as a best practice to our Korean customers is look all these 4 dimensions connected and look and build a more scalable architecture which can work for many years together. So having talked the transport layer as well as the services layer, I really want to draw out a big framework how these all fit in together. As you can see, the bottom one is the transport layer, which is a horizontal end-to-end platform. We never say that it has to be a single vendor. It can be a multi-vendor, but it has to be an horizontal end-to-end platform. The second one, what you see is the distributed and common telco architecture, which I just talked all the 4 dimensions. And third is the Mano layer, end-to-end service orchestration. Bring these 3 layers completely agnostic to any of the other capabilities you build in your network. We recommend these 3 layers being considered more horizontal approach than a vertical approach. And then you can bring up the rest of the stuff, which can be a best-of-breed solution in terms of your radio, in terms of your policy framework, and all that. But what we also need to ensure is how you make the cross-domain strategy, which are the essential control points, work. And having got your framework built, start building your enterprise edge, which will work with this infrastructure. And that's what is going to help you to make money. I think I've talked too much. I talked about the trends. I talked about Cisco strategy. I talked about architecture. It would make sense if I'm able to connect whatever we talk, whether it works in slides or can we do it across the service provider. I want to bring in a couple of case studies where we have deployed this before I end my session. To start with, I want to bring about the Rakuten. The Rakuten is the new service provider in Japan market, and they have started their greenfield journey a couple of years back. And whatever I defined as the good and best practices, all of that have been applied when we built the Rakuten network with the customer. First, it's a completely open, decomposed, and virtualized RAN. When I say that, the radio hardware is from vendor X, whereas the radio control software is from vendor Y, which is based on an open RAN architecture, which can work with any other radio vendor also. Second, they build the edge computing and a common distributed telco cloud day one. As you can see in the slide, which I can highlight, there are 2 centralized data centers, 50 regional data centers, and 3,000 edge data centers. They are developing new business model, which is going to really challenge all the incumbents in that market. They are really focused on the B2B monetization aspect. And finally, they built a network with end-to-end closed-loop automation, completely intent-driven. In this whole journey of Rakuten building this over the last 24 months, what Cisco has helped them is to build the IPv6-based 5G transport-ready infrastructure. It's completely based on our NCS platform. We have provided the telco cloud architecture, both from data center, which is based on our Nexus and ACI, and the NFVI platform, which is Cisco CVIM. And I want to highlight a point here. Today, Rakuten network has been tested from an NFVI standpoint to host more than 100 virtual networking functions. It's close to 150. And the interesting aspect of it is, out of the 150 VNF, the Cisco VNF is only countable on fingers, like 3, 4, or 5. So we have made our CVIM completely agnostic to any VNF which Rakuten wants to build it. So it's a very interesting case study. You can pick up, and over the break, we can talk more about it, and some of my colleagues also will talk a little later about how their architecture is going to help Rakuten. So it's an interesting case study which we want to share. The second one we want to share is around an emerging market in ASEAN, in a country called Philippines, where we have worked with an incumbent operator called PLDT. Again, it's a 3-year journey. And actually, I will let Aaron to talk more about it because he was personally involved in this project. But at the end of the day, what we have done them is we have built a complete IP core layer based on ASR 9K and NCS 5500. We have built the optical layer based on our NCS 1K, 2K, and 4K. And we have built the complete automation layer based on NSO, EPNM, and WAY. And actually, as we talk, this network is being built. I want to highlight what are the benefits we are offering to the customer by this network. One, a massive scale network, which is completely simplified and automated. Second, a completely open and extensible innovation platform, which can help them to host any third-party applications. Third, completely dynamic SLA architecture, which can be on the fly because, again, it's programmable. And fourth one is the multi-layer operations, where we brought in the IP plus optical convergence. So these are some of the benefits we, again, brought in for another service provider called PLDT. I really hope these examples help you to bring in some thoughts how Cisco can help you and can work with you in your 5G journey as you build the network of the future. With that, I come to the summary of my session. As I said in the last 20, 25 minutes, the three important steps for your 5G or your network of the future is first around the architecture transformation. The three aspects of it is you need to converge, you need to virtualize, you need to automate it. And once you have done your architecture transformation, which is pretty correct, then you embrace your journey of cloudification. This journey helps you to bring in the service agility and help you to host any service anywhere. We do not say that you have to go real far edge, real deep edge. It all depends on what business case you have, what applications you want to take it to the customers or your enterprises. Because the edge architecture depends on the bandwidth, latency, and the service provider infrastructure capability, which one of my colleague, Emily, will talk about it later, how to bring in the edge data center architecture and the MEC architecture. And once you cloudify, it's all up to your go-to-market and innovation, where you create the service creation and build all the new business model around for your B2B, B2C, B2B2C, all that services which you can help. So the first one will help you to achieve the reduction of cost. The second one will make you agile. And third one, help you to monetize. With that, I just want to thank you again for your clear and patient hearing. And with that, I would like to introduce my next speaker, Aaron D. Alvis, who will talk about the IP over Ethernet over fiber. Thank you so much.